opportunity to share with you my PhD journey. Today I'm going to talk about the first findings of my research. But I think it will be useful if I start this presentation with an overview of my PhD to help you to understand the whole picture of my PhD. Have you ever received a bad news about the death of someone close to you as a result of road accident? Sorry?
This morning.
Oh.
I received news this morning.
Okay. Have you ever received a bad news about the death of someone close to you as a result of road accident? Or have you ever asked yourself, how many people are killed and injured every day in vehicle crashes? Do you know that on average 17 people die and 186 are seriously injured in Saudi roads every day? As a researcher, we need to do something. We need to study this phenomenon from different perspectives in order to reduce the number of accidents. I am a social marketer whose aim is to improve our societies, whose research is focused on helping people to drive safely. I would like to do something to help them. But the question is, how am I going to do so? And there are many questions need to be answered and understood before we can do anything. The simple question one can ask, what causes accidents? The good thing is that the literature helps us to understand and answer those questions and offer a comprehensive view on factors known to influence driver behavior, such as driver ability and personality characteristics. Many studies indicate that being angry behind the wheel is associated with a greater aggression, risk-taking, and some crash-related outcomes. Yet despite the importance of having this information, we still know little about the treatment of driving anger. Therefore, my PhD aims to assist young drivers in developing more effective coping strategies to manage anger in traffic. We applied appraisal theory of emotion to understand anger, and from this theory, we were able to develop 3 questions, and we asked young driver in Riyadh about their perception, which I am going, inshallah, talk about it in more details. The second stage of my research was focused on finding out more about coping strategies and important factors with regard to coping style. In the final stage, I interviewed young driver again to build and design a social marketing insight. This is my research in a nutshell. Now we shall move on to discuss the first findings of my research. Most social marketers start their analysis by defining the problem and the behavior they would like to address, which is a very important step towards social marketing intervention. Now, the question is, what is anger? To be honest, defining anger was one of the hardest tasks for me, because everyone knows what anger is and has had experienced anger in their life. But the problem comes when someone asks me to write down a definition of anger. You may discuss the causes of anger in terms of emotion. Why another refer to the manifestation, the consequence of anger? Because I'm not a psychologist, and I would like to make this short, we decided to have some guidance from marketing literature. So from marketing literature, we found the 3 theories: categories theory and dimensions theory, appraisal theories. The cognitive appraisal approach attempts to explain the cognitive process of emotions by stating that people interrupt environmental stimuli according to their well-being. In other words, its central concept is that emotions are produced by unique psychological appraisal made by the way people evaluate their surroundings. Which means a different emotional response or no emotional at all might occur for different people experiencing the same episode and incident. Because emotions, a process is distinctive for each individual emotion, let us discuss in more detail about the appraisal of anger. According to Lazarus, to distinguish anger from other negative emotions, there are 4 necessary appraisal components that must be activated for anger to occur. The first is goal relevance. So in a situation, there must be something relevant to you. The second, goal incongruence. That situation is stopping you to reach your goal. And an individual appraising the encounter and considering it as an assault on their self or social esteem. And finally, which is one of the most important components, is someone else blaming for that situation. Now, the aim of this topic is to obtain a thorough understanding of anger in traffic and to find answers for the following 3 questions. The first, what types of traffic events cause drivers to experience anger? Second, why do drivers become angry in those type of traffic events? Third, how do drivers cope with anger during traffic events? I interviewed 12 people, 6 individually and 6 in focus group. Now, let's see the result of the first question. From the first question, I was able to obtain 20 traffic scenarios. A content analysis was used to reduce those scenarios to 4 categories. The first, progress in people. Basically, the situation is stopping you to reach your destination. Second, reckless driving. Someone breaking the common law. He cuts into your lane without looking. Hostile gesture, give your finger or something like that. Sorry about this. Discourtesy. And another driver engaged in discourtesy behavior. For example, this is a real example. He cuts into my lane without demonstrating any respect for me or the rules of the road. For the second question, the result can be also categorized into 2 groups. Someone else being blamed for the harmful situation. So someone else being blamed for the harmful situation. And also someone else, this is an important part of anger to be activated in traffic. Someone else being blamed for an insulting act. So other responsibility is an important factor in traffic. The third question, we found a strong relationship between aggression and anger in traffic. There are 3 important factors influencing people, how they cope. The driver's experience. So the more experience, they understand and they have some experience with this situation. And also passengers in the car. If your mother or children with you, you might control yourself. But if your friends with you, they may be you in trouble, So who the offender is what? So if he old, they say, okay, come on, he's old, just leave it. No. If he young, no, you might do something different. What they did, some of them do positive thinking, the reward of forgiving or for forgiveness, and others do aggressive reaction, chasing and stopping. In conclusion, the result revealed that there are 3 important people or groups need to be considered in any road safety strategy. First, the drivers, which is obvious, and the other drivers who deserve the blame, and the passenger, if applicable. So we need to do 2 important things. The first, preventing anger to be experienced in traffic by targeting all those people, not only the drivers. For example, the drivers, they may okay, just 3 seconds. The drivers could go to involve in a training course We could also promote a road courtesy to encourage people to show apologize if they do mistakes, and passenger to encourage them to help drivers to control their anger. I want to thank you again for allowing me to be this morning, and thank you.
Any questions, please?
Is the multicultural nature of the driving population a factor?
Sorry, I didn't understand. Sorry.
Is the multicultural, the very diverse background, cultural, ethnic backgrounds of the drivers on the road, is that a factor in drivers' anger?
Okay, so your question is, does culture affect your anger while you're in traffic? Well, from the literature, anger is a common across a different culture. From the literature, yeah, anger is common across different culture. Yes, the type of situation might be different, the level of anger might be different, but the emotion of anger, it's there. It's in traffic anywhere.
What about the structure of roads, you know, the infrastructure?
Yeah.
And
Now I am in my fourth year, so inshallah, almost done, inshallah. The conclusion might be that driving anger cannot be solved unless there are different factors need to be considered before we try to solve anger. Now, most of us now drive here in UK. When you go back, for the first week or the second, you drive, you know, nice, mashallah, very obeying the rules, and then you can't control yourself. People not allowing you to drive in a such way. So you will change yourself because the environment is not helping you to drive in a better way.
sorry, by the environment you mean the behavior of the...
The environment is the road design,
Okay.
the work constructions, the behavior of other drivers, all these things affecting you. The weather also affecting you. If hot weather is not, if it's rain, we will be happy.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Excuse me, can the laws, for example, delay road to control these situations?
Can?
The laws?
Yeah.
I mean, they can delay road to control this situation? Because you said you compare the situation here and there.
Okay, well, the question about law, because I'm social marketer, we don't believe about law. Now, Sahel is a good example of law. You know, in my questionnaire, there is a question about speed. If you have a ticket during the last 3 years, 75% of them say yes. Although we have Sahel during the last 3 years. So the sample was 700 people. So this is quite a number, a high percentage stating that they have broken the speed, although there is a law, which is Sahel on the money. Law can do something, but alone, I doubt.